When I told my coworker I'd started watching Doctor Who, he asked me if I knew what regeneration was yet. I had just finished Eccleston's season, so I told him yeah, and then he asked me if I knew how regeneration became a thing in the first place. As the story goes, Doctor Who started as a sort of edutainment series, where the Doctor would go throughout history while getting into all sorts of trouble. One day, after the show had grown tremendously popular, the actor playing the Doctor passed away, and the studio was freaking out over what to do. You can't just get rid of the Doctor on Doctor Who, right? So they're freaking out until one guy goes, "Oi, what if he just regenerated?" What if he just regenerated? We could cast him again and say it's the same character who shed his skin, like a lizard. And this worked. Now, I can't really vet this because I'm not British and I don't know any British people, so I really hope my coworker didn't just give me blatant misinformation. Doctor Who started just over 60 years ago, so I think it's no real surprise that we've run through quite a few Doctors by this point. I, however, have not been watching it since then. I started watching the series in February-ish of this year, and whenever I talked to anybody about it, the first thing they always said was, "You're gonna love David Tennant." I didn't think too much about it, but then I noticed it wasn't just my friends saying that. It was everybody.
Now, and I'm going to wind up soon, but not before I make a few strange noises with my mouth that will go somewhere along the lines of bingle bongle, dingle dangle, yickety doo, yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy too ta.
I started getting Doctor Who related stuff on my feed, and I noticed that there were generally two opinions that everybody had. One, David Tennant is the best Doctor, and two, seasons 5, 6, and 7, otherwise known as Matt Smith seasons, is where the show starts to fall off. Now that I'm halfway through Capaldi's run as Doctor, I think I understand why people think the show gets worse as it goes on. But I think that they're wrong. Doctor Who doesn't get worse, but sneakily, and I mean very sneakily, the entire structure of the series changes right in front of us. And that change is what fucks people up. Unless Whittaker seasons are as bad as people say they are, but that's Future Me's problem, not mine. To think about what changed in Doctor Who, you first gotta figure out what made it cool in the first place. To me, the appeal of New Who's early seasons is the incredible amount of insight we get into the Doctor's personalities through the sort of Monster of the Week format. The series sort of begins with just seeing what everyday life was like for the Doctor. He and his companions wander the stars, and more often than not, shit goes off the rails. There's a really cool aspect of this that's, for reasons to be explained in a minute, gone in post-Tennant Who. And that's that you get to know the Doctor. We see so often that he's just a big, weird, lonely, ancient nerd who's excited that he finally has someone to explain weird cosmic lore to. And each episode is essentially just us getting to explore a new aspect of that character. I don't think it's a very controversial opinion to say that Doctor Who writers do this very well. Waters on Mars is one of the best episodes of the series for this reason. Midnight is one of the best episodes of the series for this reason. Human Nature is one of my favorite episodes for this reason. I honestly could go on all day. All of that is just to say that this sort of day-by-day style of writing works really well for the Doctor, and the companions work just as beautifully. Because we're just seeing random days in his life, we kind of get to know what it's like to be a companion. In the same way that we see Rose escape her mundane life to journey throughout time and space, we as the audience get to escape our everyday lives when we watch Doctor Who. This is why Rose is the best companion. She's such a good audience stand-in, and seeing her get progressively more and more badass each time we see her later is always a treat. But Rose is also the writer's best tool to humanize other characters, and she does this, well, just by being Rose. It's almost hard to put into words how incredible she is in practically all of her scenes. We love Rose Tyler in this household. This structure's great, but it kind of stops operating like that when we get to Matt Smith's seasons. See, while up to this point New Who has been mostly episodic, they aren't completely devoid of long arcs. The best example of this off the top of my head is the Bad Wolf setup during season 1. For anyone who's watching this video and doesn't know what I'm talking about, why are you? Anyway, throughout Eccleston's run, the words Bad Wolf can be seen in random spots in the background. These are called attention to a couple times, and as the season wraps up, the Doctor notices and starts questioning what the Bad Wolf is. As it turns out, Rose became a time god and scattered the words throughout history to lead herself to become a time god. See how there's something small in the background that elevates to have a pretty cool payoff? This is pretty rad in my opinion, and serves as a really neat piece of connective tissue throughout the season. The Smith seasons do something really similar to this, but instead of it being like a small detail that occurs a couple times throughout the season, it's been promoted to be like a main plotline. During Smith's run, we step away from the episodic nature of Tennant's and start focusing way more on plot. Gone are the days of random shit happening while the companions are around. Instead, try the season-long plot to heist Amy's baby and raise it into a weapon to kill the Doctor. We really only ever see this guy when he's stressing the hell out. This isn't inherently any worse than how Tennant's run is written, but it is very different, and I think that's why Smith's run is generally seen as where the show starts to decline. If I had to describe the difference, I'd say that Tennant's seasons are written like a really great TV show, and Smith's seasons are written like season-long movies. I haven't finished Capaldi yet, so I can't really comment on that one in the same way. Strangely enough, I think you can see this the best with the companions. Have you ever really thought about how insane their backstories start to become? Rose and Martha just didn't like their lives and wanted an escape, which I'd say is a relatively relatable backstory. They start experimenting with making the companion stories more important with Donna. She was getting tricked by her fiance who's working for an alien and just randomly appears on the TARDIS. Also, I met her with my girlfriend. But once Smith's season starts, they kind of take this and kick it up to 11. Amy is the side product of a plan of a billion different alien races to trick the Doctor into getting sealed in the prison realm. Clara is split among all time and space because she split herself on the Doctor's timeline. Plus, Clara Prime only travels with him because Dalek Clara and Victorian Clara caught his attention enough for him to look for her. I haven't gotten to Billy yet, so, you know. Going off on a bit of a related tangent, what's your favorite Amy episode? If you said The Girl Who Waited, you're a sick fuck, but otherwise, chances are you said the Van Gogh episode. In this episode, we see Amy being written at her absolute best. She's charming, Karen Gillan is acting her ass off, and most importantly, she connects us to Van Gogh flawlessly. The writers use Amy beautifully to explore the depths of Van Gogh's mentality, and the struggles of a creative genius who's being told what to do is worthless. I mean, honestly, same. Yeah, I know. Amy is the audience's vehicle to understand Van Gogh, and it kills me to say it because the episode is so good, but it's because they're writing her like Rose. With Amy in this episode, we get to see how Vincent lived and how he struggled like a real person does. And honestly, in a universe with killer robots, giant space whales, and where the moon is an egg, that's the most impactful thing there is. That is what Smith's run is missing out on, and that's why people tend to think it's where the show starts to get worse. But I'm putting my foot down. Both of them. I'm putting my feet down. Smith's run is just as good as Tennant's. They're just different kinds of stories to enjoy. Think back on your favorite moments throughout their runs. For Smith, the first thing I think of is the big moments in the arcs, like the reveal of the Pandorica, the Impossible Astronaut, or the reveal of the Silence. These are moments that are testament to the strength of the writers when it comes to making creative and interesting arcs that feel fulfilling. But for Tennant, by the way I met him too, I'd be willing to bet it's the moment where we gain a new level of understanding of the character, or when he has to make a seemingly impossible choice and comes up with that third magic solution to save the day. These are times where we feel connected to the character, and our understanding of him and the companions is the best part of the show. When you start to realize the fact that these characters are incredibly complex and beautifully written, you start to realize the incredible power of the stories being told. That's why Rose works, that's why the Van Gogh episode works, and that's why David Tennant is your favorite Doctor. That is, unless you're cool like me, and your favorite is the obvious and only correct choice, Eccleston.
If you want orders, follow this one. Yourself.
Whoa! If you guys enjoyed this video, you should totally subscribe. I think the payoff is worth it. The payoff is more incredible content from yours truly. Also, while you're down there, you should comment who your favorite Doctor is. Is it Tennant? Was I wrong? Is it Eccleston? I've been loving the series as I started watching it, and I would love to talk to you guys about it in the comments. Also, if you like the video, you should like the video. I know it's kind of annoying when people ask you to do all three, but I want you to, so you know. My bad. That's about it from me this time. I'm Knightley. You've been absolutely incredible, and I'll see you relatively soon. Peace. Free up sesh. Ugh. Real life tragedy on the set of Nightly Reviews immediately after I recorded my last take of the outro because I flicked the thing. The extendable part of the thing got stuck, but the part that I used to flick it up, it fucking broke off. So I'm shit out of luck basically. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed.